back to Kevin Reviews. I just recently saw tonight, very late at night, The Wild Robot. This is written and directed by Chris Sanders, who did the um, animated and live action versions of Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. Also written by Peter Brown. Stars Lupita Nyong'o, I hope I'm pronouncing that, Pedro Pascal, Kit Connor, Bill Nighy, and Stephanie Sue. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm not sure. I apologize. So we have a story about a robot that is called a Rossum that does tasks. Um, this robot eventually, later in the film, is called Roz, and she and washes up on an island, um, and during yeah she washes up on an island, and and act and her she starts to wander around this island that's filled with wilderness and trying to find somebody to give her task because that's her programming. She wants to do a task, to complete a task. It's kind of like, in a way, uh, Rick and Morty, Mr. Meeseeks, except doesn't disappear. I haven't seen Rick and Morty. Shocker. Um, but in any case, I just remember bits that particular bit. But in any case, so that's what she's setting out to do. She's trying to find a task, but also as she's doing it, she's scaring the wildlife. Um, she eventually learns and evolves, starts from knowing their language, and then we get to a plot involving an accident that where she finds an egg that belongs to a gosling, to a goose, and decides to take care of this gosling and raise it. So we see, and I think that's where I'm going to stop there. And I'm granted that's pretty much the story in the nutshell. Um, and but yeah, I will also say that I did not I did not see this in theaters, and um, I did have some concerns because it did feel like it does have that Wall-E vibe, and I love Wall-E. Um, but I don't know, it's like you've seen, one robot and kind of in this environmental looking film, um, that you kind of draw that comparison. There's also the fish out of water story, which has been done so many times before, can be tiring, but unless they bring something new. The fact while the animation looks really good, the designs for some of the animals I did not quite. Um, I don't know. It didn't seem to sit well with me from the trailers, and the fact that they were talking. So I thought, it seemed like it was looking good, like this. It was just a robot trying to interact and trying to find a bigger purpose than its programming. And while this movie does that, I don't know. I wasn't sure about the talking animal concept. So, but I mean, that's what I thought what was going to happen as to go through. But I didn't. I knew that it got so many good reviews from critics and audiences. So it was unfortunately not at the time. I think it was at release. I did not have a chance to see it, um, for personal family reasons, or I just did not have the time to do it. So, but yeah, so yeah, that's the plot. Apologize. But yeah. So after seeing The Wild Robot, I will say I really wished I saw this in theaters. It is a phenomenal film and would be one that I would say is the best film I would see in 2024 of that year. Um, I didn't because, like I said, I think I said before that, you know, that, um, stuff come up, and, you know, that I didn't have time. And in a way that's kind of one of its themes. It does tackle themes about belonging, sense of belonging, sense of purpose, being more than what you think you are, um, and also realizing that even at times um, when things are bad, whether good or bad, to always kind of, even when it's bad, to look past that, especially for those um, that you know show you kindness. And that's the thing. Kindness is survival in a way. That's one of the main things and kind of the lesson about it, the power of kindness. And while granted, I've seen films that done this many times before, I think this does it super well with what the story was given. I'm thankful it didn't quite go into the environmental, like the typical environmental message. It's very subtle about it. Doesn't hammer you on the head with it so much. And it's like, I don't mind environmental messages, but um, a it's been done to death so many times, and b they don't always do it well, or they lose focus, with terms of the story, just to shove, you know, like even one line or a scene about environmental message. But this one plays it subtle. It does hint at something like in the future where it does involve the environment pretty heavily, and it's very, but it does try to stick with the story, and the story is the strong point. The characters are really good. Lupita Nyong, I'm again, um, does a very good job as as Roz, this robot that is trying to complete tasks. But you see her evolution, both physically and emotionally. You know, because she wasn't built for emotions, but somehow, because learning, she's a learning robot. While she activates her learning, she she starts growing, she starts developing feelings, to the point that even some of her kind that she eventually meets up later see her as defective, because it goes beyond her programming. Um, so, and I love seeing this evolution of Roz, going from that robot to what she is now as this wild robot with more feelings. And you can see great hints about it, even very subtle hints. Like, you can see the damage she gets when she's trying to navigate certain areas, getting beaten up by the animals when she's trying to, interact with them. You see all the tears and scars and claw marks. It's done very well. You also kind of notice. You also notice later on that the voice changes from becoming less more like a robot and more like a human being in a way. Emotional human being, and that's fantastic what they did there. Um, I love how that character is done. The other characters, Pedro Pascal as this fox, um, does great. Kind of this fox who feels like doesn't need anybody, yet deep down there's something, he wants something more than what he's given as this fox that just wants to try to eat and be lazy all the time. The other characters are also good and are emotion. The performances from the voice actors do very well. Even the villain, while it is shoehorned in, um, is also good. And it's not so much like it's a very deep villain, but the way this villain is like performed, even in small scenes, it's like, it kind of reminds me of this character. I had not seen this movie. Um, but if you have seen this movie involving Smiler from Emoji Movie, I know that was considered a piece of something, but I'm not going to say the S bomb here. But um, but it's like I'm gonna take this character and do it better. And it's like it's supposed to be this emotionless character, emotionless machine she's actually playing by Stephanie Hugh. Stephanie Hugh plays this emotionless machine that is like, trying to be helpful, but it's like not, very dangerous in the way it moves and interacts and tries to get Roz to, come back with her. And it's very creepy. It's and the design looks like it's out from the Terminator or the Matrix, and it's very good. Um, let's see. Animation's really good. It reminds me a lot of the Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is also a DreamWorks animated picture. Um, I, it may tweak a bit on the animation a little bit, but otherwise it's really good. It's colorful. Um, it's very colorful. They do use the colors well enough to, for scenes to make it tense or and whatnot. I'm not an expert when it comes to colors, but in film but in general, I think, but I don't have many problems. I think this is a fantastic movie. If I have to like maybe nitpick, I could have used a few more jokes. Um, more. It did have moments like some dark humor type moments that it had me laugh, and I could watch the scene over and over again. I maybe would have liked a little bit more humor, kind of that darkish humor for adults. Um, you know, but I think for a kids movie, for a kids movie, even if it's designed for to be a kids movie, it is designed well for both kids and adults. I think everyone will love this movie, and if you don't, that's fine. It's your opinion. Um, I think overall, I'm gonna give the Wild Robot my first in this channel 5 stars. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it if you get a chance. If it comes back to theaters, go back to theaters and see it. I certainly hope it comes back to theaters for a bit so I can maybe get a chance to see it. But yeah, 5 stars. Really love this movie. Um, so what do you think of the movie? Leave it in the comments. If you like the review, give a like. If you don't like it, give a dislike. That's fine. Um, doing my best with here. And if you like, again, if you like what you see, you can feel like, why am I pointing? Go ahead and just subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next review. Bye.